What's going on, everybody? This is episode 811 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller, where we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And if you're watching the show, you're probably wondering, I got on Atlanta Hawks gear. Right now, I'm watching the Atlanta Hawks. Hopefully, they will pull off the win against the Pelicans. They're actually a fun team to watch, and they're a little sloppy right now, but they're a fun team to watch. And I will probably be doing some content involving the Atlanta Hawks, so be on the lookout for that. Hopefully, you guys will enjoy that. But today, we're going to talk about Coach Clay Helton. We're going to grade his coaching performance for the 2024 season. There's a lot to talk about here because there was some ebb and flows, not too many ups and downs, just ebb and flows. And we just maintained pretty much throughout the season. But there was a lot of stuff that went on as well, and we'll talk about that. So hopefully, guys will hang around and we'll go from there. But we will not be talking about the Atlanta Falcons. All I gotta say is Kirk Cousins. Enough said there. I mean, I'm almost up to here with the Falcons. I mean, it's like, come on, what are we doing? Nevertheless, if this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I want to thank everybody who has been, supporting the show throughout the season. You guys have been absolutely awesome. I cannot thank you guys enough. And it's been a great ride. Viewership is up, listenership is up. You guys have been supporting. Follow me on X at VF Baller. People have been over there giving me a lot of feedback throughout the games, the halftime updates I've been giving. You guys have been absolutely awesome with the feedback. I cannot thank you guys enough, and let's continue to make this thing roll. So, if you want to follow me over there, I talk about things on X that don't really make it to the show. So hopefully you guys will come over there and we'll talk more outside of what I do here. Nevertheless, let's get into this. Coach Clay Helton gets the peripheral weight off of his shoulder and get an 8-win season with the Georgia Southern Eagles. A lot of people was wondering, can he get past that 6-win? Can he get past that 6-win? Because the first two seasons was not very kind to Coach Clay Helton when it came to that. Now, I will say, I think this season was a success, and I'll give you a grade shortly. And it was very refreshing to see the way this season ended. Were there some downs to this season? Yes, we're going to talk about those as well. Were there some ups? Yes. Was there some adversity? Absolutely. A little bit of everything went through this season, but I will say this: I think a lot of us, and it's not a knock on the fans because I felt this way too. I think a lot of us kind of got spoiled with the fact that Coach Clay Helton actually coming to Georgia Southern. You gotta understand, he left USC, won a Rose Bowl, and he actually left USC on, I'm not saying that on bad terms or good terms, but it wasn't like he was losing there. I mean, at USC, he was, 46-24. That's actually not that bad. But I guess, USC got high standards, and apparently you see what's going on there with Lincoln Riley. He just went 6-6, and we're just 8-4. But that's a whole nother story. We're not going to talk about that. But yeah. So nowadays, some people feel like that's not enough. You have to put yourself in a position to be at that top tier every year, and that is a tough thing to do. It was very hard for Coach Clay Helton to get win number 7, this year, let alone get 8 wins. You have to understand, like, when you look at this schedule, it was one of the toughest schedules, in the Sun Belt. There was no easy games here. And on top of that, you had a slight quarterback situation. You had another player that left the team. And throughout all of that, I got to give Coach Clay Helton credit. He weathered the storm. And one thing I would say that nobody really talks about, that these players stood behind their coach. And in everything that happened with this whole situation with Dexter Williams and Isaac Walker, it could have got ugly. But these guys stayed the course, and I can't speak for all 100 plus players on the team, but Coach Clay Helton, well, I can't speak for him either, but from the outside looking in, it looked like this was a very professional approach to everything that happened this season. You go in a toe-to-toe at Boise State, which looked like they're about to be in the playoffs, and to be honest, it's anybody's championship to have in the playoff this year. So that's something else we can talk about down the road as far as being that type of team that can get there. We went to toe-to-toe with Boise State, and And I'll be honest, if we would have I feel if we would have punted the ball instead of go for it on fourth down, we probably would have gave ourselves a chance. But that's a whole nother story. You go to Nevada and you beat them, very tough team, and very tough game to win all the way across the country. Then you go to you go to South Carolina. Well, South Carolina State comes to us. We beat them in handily. Number 5 Ole Miss. We was the first team to score a touchdown on Ole Miss at the time. That team looked like they was running through everybody. Look at them now; they're so, but it's still a very formidable team. 3 wins in a row after that. Georgia State. The comeback game against Marshall, which was a phenomenal game. I still look at that as the Dexter Williams game, And then you got the James Madison game where we looked pretty good. Then kind of like the wheels fell off a little bit. The Old Dominion game is a game that I don't like the fact that we went in that game and laid an egg like that. We lost by 38 points. You know what I'm saying? We lost what was it, 38? Yeah. We lost about 28 points, I guess. I don't know my math, sorry. 47 to 19. We got beat up in that game. But nevertheless, hey, you can't be all on point. You can't be on point the entire season. It happens. Put that game behind us. Went to beat South Alabama in another game that Dexter Williams comes in, and we end up winning that game. After that, Dexter Williams leaves the team. I kind of understand why, but I kind of understand why he left the team, but the team still held it together. Even though they held it together, we had a bye week. You come back and play against Troy, and this is the game. I don't care about the Boise State loss. I mean, I get it. That's a very good team, very good running back. We went up against Ole Miss. All honesty, I didn't think we had a shot when I found out how good Jackson Dart was. The Old Dominion game, that's one game I felt like, okay, this is the game that it happens. If anything, I would have liked to lose one Sun Belt game in the Ole Miss game, or we just lose the Boise in the Ole Miss game and win out. I would like that, but that was the game, that it is what it is. The Troy game was inexcusable. That's the game we should have won that game. And I started to look at this team really funny because Coach Clay Helton, the post-conference of the game, he was like, gee golly, it happens. We lose. Oh, well, what can we do? I was furious because we ended up losing that game based on a couple plays that was just ridiculous. So I was really worried about where this team is going after that. I don't know what happened after that Troy game. I know Isaac Walker, he decided that he didn't want to be on the team anymore, or whatever happened between that. I don't want to say I know because I don't, but it seemed like based on his post, sounded like he did not want to be on the team anymore, and he ends up leaving. And even with all of that, Coach Clay Helton still held it together. These players came in and talked up this team like, hey, regardless of what's going on, we're ready to go play against Coastal Carolina. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. It seemed like it's a totally different team for the last 2 games. Coastal Carolina going in there and beating them. The big play by Justin Myers by stopping that touchdown was huge. Huge. And that basically, that basically was the synopsis of the whole game. Coastal Carolina was going to try, but they wasn't going to get there. 26-6, we win that game. Then you go up against Appalachian State, where the 2-point conversion in the beginning of the game, I still stand by this. That was the difference maker of this game. It made it made Appalachian State chase. They chased numbers that was on the scoreboard instead of playing their football game, playing the way they normally would want to play. And it was a psychological thing. And not on top of that, Georgia Southern just felt like they just wanted to punch App State in the mouth throughout this entire game. So after the Troy game, Coach Clay Helton got this team together, and you saw a totally different team. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This team, these last 2 games, was a totally different team from any other game that we saw all this year. Maybe the closest that we seen was maybe the Nevada game. Because the Nevada game was another game, was a bunch of grit. It was a bunch of toughness. And maybe the Marshall game, those 2 games was like grit and toughness that made this team get W's in that game. But it just seemed like that grit and toughness on top of playing really well on offense was all put together in the last 2 games. And I give Coach Clay Helton a lot of credit for getting this team up when it looks like, to be quite honest, looked like we wasn't going to get past 6 wins again. We end up getting 8 wins, and I will definitely give Coach Clay Helton, I am giving him a B plus for this season. The only reason why he doesn't get an A, is because of the Troy game. If we won the game at Troy, then I would give him an A. If we would have won against Troy and Old Dominion, it would have been an A plus, because we kind of knew the Boise State Old Miss game, those are the teams that was kind of like we expected to lose. I didn't expect to lose against Old Dominion like that, and I definitely didn't expect to lose to Troy like that. But if anything, I would have accepted one loss in the Sun Belt. That would have gave me an A, but if you would have ran the table in the Sun Belt, it would have been an A plus easily. But I give him a B plus. Absolutely great job, a fantastic job by Coach Clay Helton of pulling this team together with everything that's going on with, like I said, this could have been a really bad situation with a quarterback controversy. I think Coach Clay Helton handles some things behind the scenes a lot better than we would think. And also, I think that we're very fortunate to have Coach Clay Helton. And I'm going to be honest. I think we got him at the right time, and the way things are set up. I don't know where he's going to be going, if he goes anywhere sometime in the future, but as of right now, he's put this program in a very good position. You have to understand, the attendance is up. The NIL is up, but the donations to the program is up. Everything is up, and people are starting to believe in this whole thing with Coach Clay Helton. I think these last 2 games kind of solidified that. 6 and 7, people was kind of wondering what's going on. Cal Van Treese came in and revamped this entire offense with the help of Coach Clay Helton and Brian Ellis. And then you turn back around, you bring Davis Brin in, and we thought that the bottom was going to fall out. We saw great play by, J.C. French and the rest of the offense throughout the season, and he stuck to his guns. Even with, Dexter Williams looming, he stuck to his guns. And to a fault, that kind of hurt. I mean, it kind of hurt him sometimes, but this time he won out. And now I'm starting to wonder, like, the only thing he has to do to put the icing on the cake, put the cherry on top, he has to get a bowl win. Now, I know there's some people that's probably going to be talking about, hey, the season's not over. Yes, the season's over. The bowl game is the postseason, and so I don't add that into the grade. But the 2024 season is over, and I definitely give him a B plus for this season. This was a very solid season for Georgia Southern, despite those other things that was happening that I talked about. Like, the quarterback controversy could have been an issue. The Isaac Walker thing, that could have been an issue. I mean, he put that out on social media, and I understand. Players get frustrated. I get it. But then again, he got the team together, and they turned this around, and they won the last 2 games. And they won these last two games pretty handily. They made people respect on his name and his respect on Georgia Southern. I mean, what more could you ask for? This was good. This was really, really good. So I'm absolutely happy the way things played out. I did not talk much about us missing out on the Sun Belt Championship. I know people are probably talking about that as well. You can't deal with things you can't control. And I know we could have beat Troy, and that's why I knocked them on that, because that was the worst loss of the season. But nevertheless, he does, in my opinion, make up for it by winning the last 2 games. And we need to go to a bowl game. And what bowl game we go to, we need to win that game. You're 0-2 already in bowls, and we need to bring a trophy home. Now, before I get out of here, before I say this, Coach Clay Helton has done pretty good so far, in his tenure at Georgia Southern. You're 2-1 against Coastal Carolina. You're 2-1 against Appalachian State. You're 2-1 against Georgia State. You made it to a bowl twice, and you finally got over the hump and got the 8-4 season. And the trajectory is on the up and up. The program is in a good shape. Donors are donating. Donors are donating, and you got attendance up. Everything is looking good. It's very hard to sit here and be like, man, we may need another coach. Nah, I think Coach Helton is here, man, and we need to find a way to hold on to him for a little while longer. So congratulations, Coach Clay Helton. Congratulations to the Georgia Southern Eagles. And whatever bowl game you go to, I hope you smack that team in the mouth and bring that trophy back to Paulson and bring it back to Statesboro. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Apple. Follow me on X at VF Baller. I am going to get up out of here. I'm about to watch the rest of this Hawks game, and I'm trying to find out what's going on here because it's halftime 59-58, I think. Yeah, okay, 58-59. Okay, cool. All right, but I'm going to get up out of here. Y'all take it easy, and y'all be blessed. Peace.